At long last, after weeks of huffin' and puffin', Celtic finally put a smile back on the faces of the support. A much-needed win, not just for the points, but for the morale. It's been a rough ride lately, and this result against Sturm Graz, while not perfect, gave us something to hold on to. But let's no kid ourselves. We got the 3 points, and we played better football, but the night came at a cost. Injuries. And not just we knocks. We're talking key players dropping like flies, and that casts a long shadow over what should have been a feel-good European night at Celtic Park. Rodgers went with a pretty bold lineup. Schmeichel between the sticks, Johnston back at right back, Carter Vickers and Scales in the middle, and Tierney, surprisingly, slotted in on the left. And fair play to the boy, he looked sharp. Midfield saw McGregor looking more like himself again. Barking orders, picking passes, proper captain's shift. Hitati was still hit and miss, but at least he was involved. The big surprise? Ari Engels. Folk have been on his back for weeks, but he turned up. Solid, composed, and finally looked like a guy who belongs at this level. Up top, Iano started through the middle, but barely lasted a couple of minutes. That's no exaggeration. Barely touched the ball before he pulled up, and off he went. Johnny Kinney came on early doors, and suddenly we're shuffling the deck again. And just when you think that's the end of it, Alistair Johnston pulls up after 20-odd minutes. Another hamstring. Brendan Rodgers admitted after the match that maybe, just maybe, he rushed him back. And let's be honest, it was a gamble. The lad's been out for 2 months and gets thrown into a high-intensity European match. It was always going to be a risk. Now it looks like we've lost him again, likely for another few weeks. And in a season where depth is already thin, that's a blow we really didn't need. Carter Vickers, to make things worse, finished the game hobbling. Couldn't even get subbed off, cause we'd already used up all 3 stoppages. He literally limped through the final minutes. That's 3 injuries in one night, 3 big players. And let's face it, we're not exactly stacked with options right now. But let's not get bogged down. On the pitch, there were positives. Real ones. Celtic looked more like a football team again. We were brave, we moved the ball quicker, and we actually looked like we had an idea going forward. That slow, lifeless sideways passing we've seen lately? Gone. For one night at least. Tierney down the left, linking up with Tinky. There was good movement, some genuine link-up play. Tinky's maybe not as electric as he was at the start of the season, but he was involved, and that's what we need from him. Johnny Kinney? Look, he ran his socks off. Credit where it's due. He gets into good areas. He presses. He works. But when the big chances fall his way, you just don't fancy him to stick them away. Same story with Negrin. Plenty of opportunities, but when it matters, they fluff their lines. That's the real worry. We're not talking about keepers pulling off worldies. We're talking clear-cut chances that aren't even hitting the target. Both our goals came from corners. The first one worked nicely and finished by Scales. The second, a peach of a ball in from Ari Engels. So while it's great to see us finally being dangerous at set pieces, it also says a lot that we're still struggling to score from open play. It's not good enough at this level, and everyone knows it. Back to Engels for a second, arguably our best player on the night. He controlled the tempo, played with purpose, and showed the kind of quality we've been crying out for. McGregor, too, deserves a mention. It's been a while since we've seen him grab a game like that. Wasn't quite vintage Calmac, but it was a hell of a lot better than what we've seen from him lately. More aggressive, more leadership, more urgency. And then there's Liam Scales. He's taken stick in the past, rightly, at times, but he was excellent. Strong in the tackle, composed on the ball, and his goal? Pure class. And would you believe it, the lads now scored in the Champions League, Europa League, and the Conference League. No bad for a guy who a lot of folk didn't think was Celtic material not long ago. His passing was spot on, too. Forward thinking, none of that safe stuff we've been used to. Just solid, confident defending. One of the biggest positives, though? Cobby Donovan. Every time he's come on, he's shown attitude, hunger, and proper commitment. Still raw, still learning, but the lad's got something. He was involved in the opening goal and never hid from the ball. He even chased back after losing possession, won it again with a slide tackle, stuff that gets the crowd on their feet. With Johnston now sidelined again, surely Donovan has to start against Hearts. Ralston just doesn't offer what's needed at this level anymore, and Cobby's earned his shot. As for Sturm Graz, well, for a side that's topping the Austrian league and just beat Rangers, they were poor. Expected more, to be honest. They didn't exactly sit in, but they left themselves wide open. Gave us space to play, especially in the middle and out wide. It felt like they never really got going. Maybe they thought they'd coasted after the Rangers' result. But in fairness, we made them look average. We played with more aggression, pressed high, and they couldn't cope with it. And just like that, the table starts to look a bit better. For points, 21st in the overall Europa League standings. Still loads of work to do, but if we dropped points tonight, we could have just about written off the group. Now there's hope. Still need probably 2 wins and a draw from the last 5 games to reach the knockouts, but it's doable. Next up in Europe, Midtjylland away, the best team in the group so far, 3 wins from 3. That one's going to be tough. A point there would be massive. Then there's Utrecht at home. You're looking at that as a must-win. But all that can wait. Right now, it's all eyes on Sunday. Hearts away, to Newcastle, one of the hardest fixtures in the league, and we're walking in there battered and bruised. No Iano, no Johnston, probably no Maeda, and serious doubts over Carter Vickers. The squad's stretched, confidence is fragile, and yet, somehow, it feels like we've got a chance. Maybe it's madness. Maybe it's hope. But this win against Sturm Graz showed there's still fight in this team. And sometimes, when nobody gives you a chance, that's when you find out what you're really made of. Sunday's shaping up to be one of those games that could go either way, and honestly, that's what makes it exciting. There's a weird buzz in the air, a mix of nerves, dread, and just a wee bit of hope. Newcastle's never an easy place to go, even when you're in form. But going there now, with the injuries we've got and the form we've been carrying, that's a mountain. Still, it's exactly the kind of occasion that can light a fire under this team. You're away from home, everyone's doubting you, the media's writing you off, and the opposition fancy themselves. This is the moment where you either crumble or stand up and remind folk who you are. It's not just a big game because it's Hearts, it's big because of what's at stake. Win this, and suddenly everything changes. The mood around the club, the fans' belief, the noise around Rodgers, it all flips. Drop points again, and you're staring down a proper crisis. Especially if Rangers keep grinding out results. You can't be 8 points behind this early in the season and expect folk to keep calm. So the pressure's massive. But sometimes, that's when Celtic are at their best. When backs are against the wall, when everyone expects failure, that's when we've seen this club pull something out the hat. Team-wise, Rodgers doesn't have a lot of options. Iano's out, Johnston's out, Maeda's a big doubt, and Carter Vickers might not make it. You're probably looking at Donovan coming in at right back, and that's fair. The kid's done more than enough to earn a start. He's raw. But he's hungry. He gets stuck in, gets forward, and doesn't hide. That's exactly what you need at Newcastle, someone who'll rise to the fight, not shy away from it. At center back, it'll be Scales +1. If Carter Vickers can't go, maybe it's Dane Murray. Maybe even Naraki, if he's fit. Either way, it's going to be a patched-up defense. Tierney, for me, plays again. No question. He was solid in Europe and brought a bit of calm and control that's been missing. That left side with him, and Tinky showed glimpses of real promise. And if we're going to get joy against Hearts, it's going to be down the flanks. Their fullbacks push high, and if we can exploit that space, we'll get chances. Midfield picks itself at this point. McGregor, Ingles, and probably Hitati again. That's the trio that started against Sturm Graz, and they deserve another go. Ingles, in particular, has to carry that performance into Sunday. If he's on it, we've got a platform to build on. The front three's the real question. Kenny will likely start through the middle again, unless Rodgers throws a curveball and goes with Shinyam from the off. But that feels unlikely. Kenny's not the most clinical, but he puts in a shift, presses hard, and causes problems with his movement. On the left, it'll be Tinky. On the right, that's where it gets tricky. Do you throw James Forrest in for some experience and drive? Honestly, it might not be the worst shout. He's still got the legs for a shift, and even if he's not the Forrest of old, he knows what these games mean. He won't hide. And right now, that's half the battle. What we absolutely can't do is start slow. Newcastle will be rocking from the first whistle. The home fans will smell blood. Hearts are flying, and they'll come out fast, looking to press high, force mistakes, and pin us in. We need to weather that storm early on, get through the first 20 minutes, and then start to impose ourselves. If we go behind early, it's going to be a long day. But if we can hold them, frustrate them, and nick a goal, then you turn the crowd, you put doubt in their heads, and suddenly it's a different game. And here's the thing. Hearts are good just now, no doubt. They're confident, well-coached, and their front players are causing havoc. But they're not unbeatable. They've not come up against the kind of pressure they'll face if we turn up properly. If we play with the same tempo and intent we showed against Sturmgrass, we'll create chances. The issue, as always, is whether we'll take them. And that's what it might come down to. Who's more clinical on the day? Because make no mistake, we'll both get openings. It's Tenekasel. It's always frantic. There'll be fouls, chaos, dodgy decisions, and probably a bit of needle. And speaking of decisions, we need a strong performance from the officials. Not holding my breath, but still. Some of the calls against us in Europe were baffling. Scales getting pinged for a perfect tackle, clear advantages being pulled back, the usual nonsense. You just hope the referee doesn't make it about himself on Sunday. These games are hard enough without that. But coming back to the point, this is Celtic. This is the kind of match where legends step up, where someone unexpected grabs the headlines. Maybe it's Scales again. Maybe it's young Donovan. Maybe even Shinyam comes off the bench and scores the winner. Who knows? But the opportunity is there. That's what makes football magic. One game, one moment, and the whole narrative flips. And look, I'm not daft. I know we're not playing great. I know the injuries are piling up, the squad feels thin, and the fans are rightly frustrated. But this is exactly why a result on Sunday would mean so much. Not just the points, the belief. Win this, and you go into the next European match with wind in your sails. The fans get behind the team again. The whole mood lifts. And suddenly, January doesn't feel so far away. Suddenly, you've got something to fight for again. The big question is, do the players believe? Do they feel like they're still in the fight? That's what we're going to find out at Tenekasel. Because Hearts will test us. They'll push us to the limit. And if there's any doubt in our minds, they'll punish us. But if we show a bit of bravery, a bit of swagger, and actually play to our strengths, then it's possible. More than possible. We're Celtic. We don't shrink from challenges like this. We step up. So let's see if this group's got the bottle. Let's see if they've got the fire. Because if they do, and they pull off a result on Sunday, it could change everything. Bring it on. So yes, Celtic are going into this one battered, bruised, and undermanned. But sometimes, that's when the club shows its soul. Tenekasel is no place for passengers. There's no room for hesitation. It'll be tight, it'll be tense, and it might get scrappy, but these are the matches that define seasons. Not always pretty, but always emotional. And if Celtic can come out of it with a win, everything changes. Again, before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. Hold on to your seats, boys fans. The rumor mill is going absolute ballistic this week, and if it's to be believed, Celtic just pulled off a jaw-dropping coup in the transfer market. Word on the cobbled streets of Glasgow is that the boys forked OOT a fortune to secure the signature of Serbian Wall VELJKO MILOSAVLJEVIC, a name that's been whispering through European circles for months as one to watch. The 24-year-old center-back has apparently been eyed by a clutch of clubs across the continent, but it's Celtic that managed to beat the competition. And if the gossip is to be trusted, the boys nay held back when it comes to the fees. Sources close to the club are claiming that MILOSAVLJEVIC is seen as the linchpin of a future Celtic defense, a rock-solid presence who can anchor the backline for years to come. It's said that his combination of physicality, tactical nous, and an almost telepathic read-in of the game made him an irresistible target for Ange Postecoglou and his coaching staff. Some pundits are already whispering that this could be the start of a new defensive era at Parkhead, a line of steel capable of holding the most fearsome attacks in the Premiership and beyond. The buzz isn't just about his defensive credentials. MILOSAVLJEVIC is reportedly comfortable on the ball, able to start plays from the back and link up midfield in a way that modern football demands. Celtic fans are already dreaming about a backline that combines grit, elegance, and Serbian grit, a combination that might finally give the Hoops the defensive consistency they've been craving in recent seasons. Of course, no transfer is ever free from risk, and some skeptics are askin if the hefty fee might heap pressure on the young defender. But the general mood among supporters is one of excitement, speculation, and a wee bit of giddy anticipation. If the rumor proves true, it would be a statement o intent fra Celtic, showing that even in a football world dominated by megaclubs, the boys are ready to invest big and secure talent before anyone else does. The whispers are already flying across social media, in pubs, and on the terraces. Is Milosavljevic the new bedrock of Celtic's defense? Only time will tell, but for now, the rumor has sparked a frenzy, and boys fans can't help but imagine the unbreachable Serbian wall standing firm against every challenging striker the Premiership can throw at it. Hello, fan. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.